Hello everybody, welcome back to DND404. Today we're trying something a little different. It is a new show we're going to call the Orb Report. That's right, it's a variety show where we're going to give you anything and everything D&D related in a nice, fun, mixed bag of amazingness. Join with me today are the other amazing, delicious TV dinners that I put in my microwave after a long day of work, starting with the... Oh yeah, Tony!
Hey, you know me. I like Italian things, and anything that's with sauce on top of it, specifically spaghetti. But the brand I'm going for is the Lean Cuisine protein meals. Oh, I love them. They got the little cheese raviolis. They got the little spaghetti and meatballs. I love it. I love the Lean Cuisine protein meals. Cheap but effective. What about you, Jay, man?
I'm gonna have to go with SpaghettiOs, preferably with meatballs.
Oh,
Taking it back to the old days.
Yeah.
I had them recently, and I gotta say, they hold up.
I've never in my life had SpaghettiOs microwaved personally. But I'm sure everybody does it.
Yep.
I'm a pot kind of guy. I put it in.
Whoa, no drugs. Drugs free.
Hey, whoa, hey, pause.
Drug-free zone.
X.
Oh no.
Hello everybody, my name is Dan. I usually play Minas Pebblewalker, your tiny little Swarmkeeper Ranger, but today I'm playing myself, and my favorite microwave meal of all time has got to be Bagel Bites. I will destroy a whole little tray of Bagel Bites. That was one of my favorite college snacks. Oh baby, give me those Bagel Bites.
That's funny that you put them in a microwave and not an oven.
Right. But
yeah,
I do it too, but I'm weird. I can't wait. I need to
yeah, I'm not waiting for that.
Quickest
And
way
in
in my
college,
mouth.
we didn't have ovens. I guess you could have your little toaster oven. Maybe that'd do the trick, but usually it wouldn't fit in your toaster oven. It's too wide, you know. But like I said, today is a variety show. We're going to be kind of bouncing back and forth between a lot of topics. And the first topic, I'm going to go over to our sideline reporter. Ding, 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 ding. Tony, what have you got for us today?
Today's headline is the end of YouTube. No YouTube. The end.
TikTok, check. YouTube, you're next.
We got some hot news, and it's the end of D&D on YouTube. You see, in the new year, we always present ourselves with some words of affirmation and empowering statements such as, "New year, new me." And this year, YouTube took that and ran with it. And YouTube do what YouTube does, and it changed its algorithm once again, making some drastic changes. And this had ultimately affected the D&D space quite harshly. Two now former big YouTubes in January, the two channels Man Shorts and How to Be a Great GM, have decided to stop making new videos. How to Be a Great GM had an interview with their YouTube rep. They effectively told him that they're not pushing his videos out anymore. It's never going to reach new people. They can still update and upload new videos. However, it will not be introduced to new people, and that's pretty much a death blow to any YouTube channel if you're not bringing in, and eventually your current subscriber base is going to teeter off if they're not being even recommended those videos. So these two channels have suffered the same fate and have decided to just stop making videos. They felt it was the need to time to retire with that bad news. This affects D&D as a whole, but what does it really mean? With this news sparked a lot of controversy and clickbait videos that are talking about it. Not to spoil those clickbait videos, but if you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all. They're just saying that hey, you need to keep up with the times and you probably should be making better content because informational content isn't in anymore. And that's pretty much the gist of most of those videos. But let me run it down for you nice and easy. Here's what's happening. YouTube changed its algorithm to shift to focus on newer, smaller channels and eye-catching videos and eye-catching thumbnails. And based on the performances of those videos within just an hour. So depending on how well your video does within an hour on YouTube, it decides if it's going to push it, with their primary focus on smaller YouTube channels with under 500 subscribers. So I think this change affects D&D channels a lot because a lot of D&D content is mostly slow burns and how-tos and tutorials and other videos on how you should run games at home. And these are just informational videos. And most of the people who are looking for those videos aren't oh, gotta watch the new D&D tutorial. They're just searching for it as they need it, and that's going to affect how a lot of creators make their stuff. But the upside of this algorithm for YouTube is that if you're a D&D news bait clickbait channel, all you gotta do is mention D&D is dead or D&D controversy, and everyone flocks in, and that's how you pay your bills with those videos. There have been a number of videos talking about such a topic, and then showing their numbers and making quite a bit of cash just saying YouTube is dead, or is it? And
get your bag.
Yep, pretty much. So talk about a catch-22. How you guys feel about that? Jared, how you feel about that?
Well, I think it's kind of ridiculous. This is kind of my problem with TikTok, because it seems like they're going towards the TikTok, way is what it seems like. And my thing with that is if you reward people in sensationalism, then that's all what the platform is going to kind of potentially be, is people being like, oh my gosh, like the Mr. Beast approach to things, that they're going to miss the high quality, like deep dives into certain videos. I don't know. That's just my initial thoughts on it. This is the first time I've heard it. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough, especially for anybody in these like niche areas, because D&D is pretty niche. It's getting a lot bigger. We had a big movie come out about it, which is good for all of us, but at the end of the day, tabletop gaming in general is something that not everybody's constantly searching for online. It's a bit of a smaller, closer, tight-knit community. So when you have these channels kind of hitting that cap in their niche, I think that's where this issue comes in, where all of a sudden it's better to just make a whole new channel rather than trying to maintain a channel that's not getting pushed anymore. So for the future of D&D YouTube, I'm not sure if it's dead necessarily. I think it will always be alive, but if the algorithm is going to reward sensationalism, like Jared said, then I can see how this will be a continuous problem for major growth on YouTube in these niche markets.
Yeah, ultimately, you just gotta keep up with what people are interested in. And I mean, how many how-to videos can really be made, and for how long?
Agreed. I guess as long as they keep making books, perhaps, but...
Hey, you can make as many book reviews as you want, but how about, oh, my DM sucks, what do I do video? How many of those can you make?
Best way to paint your mini, part 78.
Part 78, we're talking about the slap chop, whatever method that is. You paint it black and then paint everything else on it. Thank you.
Before we move on, Tony, what are your final thoughts? I guess let's just bring us full circle.
Well, I haven't heard of these channels personally because we're relatively new to the YouTube space, but I did check them out once I did hear their news earlier this month in January, and they're great. They're informational, but they are definitely slow burn type videos. And although albeit very informative, I'm not exactly gonna rush to like, oh, I look for the new video. It's just I'll look for it kind of like when I need it, and I think that's how this channel was being used until recently. So they are needed. So eventually there'll be a demand for it once people stop making them, and then maybe they'll come back, and maybe the next algorithm shift will help these channels instead of killing them.
Yeah, we can only hope, right?
And it's good news for us because two less D&D channels. No, stop.
Good news for us. All right. Bang, 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 bang. Order in the court. Order in the court. Everybody does this online. It's nothing new. We're going to do what we're going to call super creative and super original title for this segment: Rule Attorneys. Yeah, we are the Rule Attorneys, and we are going to go through Reddit and see what problems you're having with your DMs or your players, and kind of just talk about that and who's right. We're going to decide if they are the AH or the other person is the AH. Going to be very simple. Each of us will get a point. There are 3 of us, so they're tiebreakers. Nice and easy. Roll the post. I will put who this is from later because I forgot to put it on the top of my notes. I am genuinely unsatisfied with the lore my DM made for my character and don't know how to tell her. Hi, petty new to D&D here. Basically, as the title says, my character has been going downhill and I end up more frustrated each time. I play in a small group of friends, everyone but me having D&D experience. My best friend, the DM, is a DM as her full-time profession. My character, whom I was really excited to play, is a half-drow who worships Lathander. She had a rough, moral, dubious backstory, as all the players do, as that was the theme of the campaign. 5 bastards, 4 bastards, my DM advertised it as. A few months ago, my DM made a hard pivot into forcing Lolth into my character's story. My character, who had never been to the Underdark, was constantly met with scorn for being a drow and was broken into her home and assaulted over it. I know in D&D lore, most races don't like drow, but it's my first time. And as my character attempted to commune with Lavander, she was randomly met with Lolth with no warning. I'm genuinely not allowed to commune with my god, and he has never come up for my character ever. And after essentially being forced to turn to Lolth, I am met with more scorn, now from players and previous NPC allies alike. What should I do? I'm genuinely so frustrated. I do not want this at all. I keep thinking it's going to be better and my character will find a way out of it, but it gets worse every session and I am starting to dread the thing I used to look forward to every week. I keep trying to bring it up to my DM, but it feels like it's never taken seriously. Even all the players single me out despite all our characters being morally dubious jerks. I keep thinking I should tough it out because I'm the only new one, but I feel so helpless and frustrated. End post. So TLDR, the DM advertised this as bastards being bastards for bastards' sakes. And after writing a specific god into her character backstory, his or her character backstory, it was never brought up and it was changed, and no attempt to alter that in the game was met with any good reception. Now, the first thing I'm going to say right off the bat is I'm really sorry that you're feeling hopeless and frustrated. Nobody wants to go through any sort of situation, whether you're right or wrong, where you and the DM are at odds and you don't feel like you're on the same page. That's just never a fun situation to be a part of. And the second thing is, in my opinion, after reading this, I can understand, first, playing devil's advocate from the DM's perspective, how they might have a specific plan for the world and how, the god might play specifically into the plot and there might be a turnaround. But typically those are things that you would discuss with your player beforehand, let them know to kind of hey, wait a few sessions. You might not like it at first, but I promise you things are going to work out. At the end of the day, I'm definitely going to be on the player side with this. When you write something that specific as a god into your character that you're designated to, that matters with your subclass and your story, and then it's just discarded entirely, I mean, it's hard not to side with the player here. I don't really know how you could fully side with the DM, but that's going to be me at one point towards the player, and then I'm going to pass it off to our DM. I think that would be the pertinent next person to talk to here. So Tony, from a DM perspective, how are you feeling with this one?
First off, today's topic, racism, and you. How do you deal with it? That's what's happening here. So, welcome to being a drow elf. That's just the trope of being a drow elf, is that everyone hates you because you're an elf that comes from underground and your race primarily worships spiders, and drow mingle with spiders and driders and all that fun stuff. So, there you go. So, welcome to being stereotyped as a drow. Now, with the DM, as far as introducing Lolth, without too much of the notes, maybe Lolth is interrupting that connection between the player and their god as a plot, because Lolth is how dare you not worship me, the queen of drow, essentially the goddess of all drow elves, and is mad about that. It could just be poor execution on the DM's part, in the sense that they did not introduce the god into their story early enough and then had their connection severed to build a way to reconnect with their god that they want to be in there, so be intertwined with so much. However, you gotta just call out your DM, right? So there's two ways that I can handle this. One, just talk to the DM hey, I don't like where this is going. I feel my character backstory is being ignored. Can you reassure me that it's being kept in mind and going to serve a greater purpose? Or B, if they happen to be a paladin, I don't think they ever mentioned a class.
No, they did not.
I was just saying, be an oathbreaker. Just hit the DM back,
sure.
game mechanic wise. Which is another way. If you want to play Dungeons and Dragons and your DM is pigeonholing you into a specific story and talking to them doesn't work, then use game mechanics and try to like multi-class into another class that like goes against what they're trying to do, and be like, hey, I'm not interested. I'm gonna now pick a class that alters my religious views for that character. So like a warlock, where now they need to make a pact with a demon to get around the Loth curve, or become a paladin and worship another god, and go that route, or a cleric, or what have you. That's how I would handle it.
With all that said and done, though, who you siding with on this? Who's the AH in this situation?
So this player perspective, I'm going to say the DM. I'm going to say the DM is the AH because poor execution. However, new player, one-sided story. So
yeah, I don't know if we have all the information. I agree with that. They might be letting some stuff go that we don't know about. You never know with these posts. But we already have 2 for the player, so congrats to the player. You are the very nice person that we are siding with this week.
Whoa. I don't get to weigh in on this situation?
but even so, justified.
Wow.
Jared, what are your thoughts on this situation?
All right.
here?
I got 3 bullet points, okay? So I'll make them short and sweet. The DM not giving the player a heads up that Drow this is hard mode, you should have known, is maybe a missed point on their part. Like, not knowing or like being blindsided by that. But with that even being said, the DM, I think the bigger issue is that the DM is a veteran and this is a beginner. And when you get lost in the sauce, we'll even say, of being up here with all the knowledge, you lose the perspective of what it's like to play as a new player. And without holding their hand as much, you're losing them as a player, and that's really sad. You have to be able to disconnect. Oh, I just played with this group of players that I've been playing with for 10 years. You have to be able to disconnect that from your brain and see it from a new player's perspective and what is fun. Like, you have to kind of give them a little bit more perspective of, oh, hey, don't worry, this is going to pan out later. There should be a little bit more thing. And that goes to my third point, is talk it out. Like, it seems like this is a pretty easy resolution. Just be like, hey, why is this so hard, and why are you making this like feel like everything's against me? Oh, it's because you played Drow. Can I do something else? Can I take it back? Can we kill off this character, create a new one?
Disguise
I didn't realize that this is the hardest thing in the game. I wished I would knew that before.
Yeah.
It seems like an easy win. I say, in accounts, if the story is true, yeah, I think the DM is forgetting what it's like to be a new player.
It's hard being a new player, it really is. And oftentimes as new players, we don't have a lot of information available to us right away that would really help us for the first time we're playing. But I do know people that can help you with that. Like my friend Jared here. Jared has been playing for about 3 years now, and he's learned a lot.
So many things. Still learning. I still don't know monk things.
How about you maybe give us some advice to new players as we transition very flawlessly into the next
as we
segment.
look into this. As we look into this orb, the path before thee is treacherous, the dice most fickle. But fear not, for we have peered into the tomes of wisdom and bring thee the most profound. Heed well this advice of the week is what we're going to be calling this segment. I got 2 for you. Okay, it's gonna be short.
Oh,
simple.
got 2. Okay.
Got 2. Just figured why 1? You can do 2. So I'll throw 1 at you guys. See what your reactions are. We'll go from there. The first one, I think, is the hardest for a lot of people starting out, because people love they when you're starting new, I feel like you're in role-playing mode and then you're in combat mode. And when you get to bring combat mode more in line with the RP, I think it's really fun. And I was going to say, one of the biggest things you can do is describe your actions when you're in your combat. I think just saying, okay, I'm going to swing my sword, it does 10 damage. Add a little bit more flavor. Oh, I go and I sweep at his legs to, try to cripple him from getting up the stairs while he's running away from me or something along those lines.
Throw a little thing of sand at him while he...
Yeah, right? Pocket sand, if you need to. Add a little bit more flavor. What about you, Tony? What do you got?
First, I gotta say, the 2 modes thing is so true. Like, there's combat mode and roleplay mode. I love seeing new players go into roleplay mode, because no matter how loud and outgoing they are, as long as they're not a theater kid, they always roleplay the same way. They're like, I am now role-playing. And like, that's how they talk. And it's just like a total downshift in their voice. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to describe actions because the more imagery you can put into your head, that's the best way to like get immersed. And I think session 2, so if you're doing session 1 and you start describing all of your actions, session 2, all of that is really going to really going to flourish, because when you think about session 1, you're not remembering yourself playing D&D. You're remembering yourself as the character doing those things as if you were really doing it, rather than playing a game. And that kind of gets you in the mindset of role-playing your character, both in and out of combat.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm not going to have much to add to this one. Everything you guys said is correct. And just try your best to think of, watch anime, watch action movies, watch WWE, whatever it is. Go find inspiration and go, oh, maybe I could add this little tiny movement to my description when I'm doing an attack. That'd be my tiny little suggestion to tack onto there. But no, I got nothing else to add, though. I'm excited to hear what your next thing is, though. I didn't know you had 2 pieces of advice.
Got two. You know what? Why stop it? It's advice of the week. Okay, we gotta bring at least 2.
Weekend.
We bring double.
Yeah, double. The next one is kind of goes with the story that Dan just told, but work with your story and not against it. So it kind of falls in line. So yes, there can be some things that the DM's throwing at you that may seem unfair, but roll with the punches, see if it goes, well, and if you need to talk to them, then do. But I think this also goes with the things that are going bad can be profoundly funny. So say if you keep failing rolls, just be like, I don't know, guys, and then just keep falling down on yourself. I think it's hilarious. Going over to Dan, what do you got, bud?
He's
Raise my hand in class. Raise my hand in class. This is one of my favorite. Oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite topics in D&D. Fail upwards is what everybody will always tell you. Find amazing ways to fail. Failure is not terrible in D&D. It's not a bad thing that happens. It is just another way to tell your story, right? It's just a speed bump in the story. It's something that might be a catalyst to another event. So when you fail, don't think it's my character is doing bad. No, it's my character struggling, and this is telling a new aspect of the story about my character or an event or a place or an object, whatever that happens to be. When you break that important object as you try and catch it and it falls onto the ground, look down slowly, look up at the rest of your party, and run away. Like think of a way you can play that up so that it not only is it funny and engaging for your group, but to Jared's point, in a way that it rolls with the story, as you're failing at maybe defeating the huge boss that you promised your father you would defeat, but it doesn't go the way you want the first time. Get angry, get upset, sulk, but then come back and say, no, I'm not finished yet. I promise you, I'll be back. Work it into your story. They go into their training montage, whatever that happens to be. I can't talk enough about how amazing failing is in D&D. Once you embrace failing, it's actually one of the most fun parts of D&D, in my opinion. What do you think, Tony?
I'm going to echo that thought and just give a quick word to the DMs listening to this. When a player fails, just like you want your players to go yes and, DMs should be going yes, but on failed scenarios. So, for instance, if they're trying to run, let's just say they fail an athletics check or an acrobatics check, what have you. They may fall, yes, but they notice something. Give them like a little bit of rope when they fail. It doesn't necessarily have to be ground breaking or puzzle solving, but like, for instance, if a character is running away and they fail an acrobatics check, don't just say they trip and now they're prone and they fail. Say that they're knocked down, and as they are knocked prone and they have the prone condition, they look up at the enemy and notice something, just a little, like a symbol, a sign, a sigil of some kind that moves the story just a little bit, or gives them information to ask questions once the encounter's over. And that's how you get your players thinking what comes next without going, I roll to loot the body or whatever, because they're gonna call back to that failed moment.
Love that.
Players dwell on failed moments more than they get hyped about successful ones.
Yeah, of course.
I think so. But that's it for Advice of the Week. And now back over to Tony for his next segment.
Oh, it is a hot take. And let me tell you, it's hot. It's going to be a hot take. So, in the 2024 edition, they changed the name of races to species. That's how they refer to them, and it's about that. So I like to say race because it's just embedded in me. However you want to say it, it's not wrong. It's just a book with words. It can't tell you what to do. It can't yell at you. You're safe. I'm still going to call them races, though. But my hot take is the 2024 edition gets rid of half races, and I think it's a great thing that they did that. Not because it's safe, because they want to get away from the word half, but keeping half races homebrew. And I think that does justice for everybody. Here's why. So in this segment, we're going to be doing a little convincing. Dan and I are going to go back and forth and try to convince Jared on why this may be a good or bad thing.
It's going to be hard because I technically agree with you. I'll do my best.
Because it's a good hot take. It's a good hot take.
It is a really good hot take.
There are people that are really mad about
take.
this. There are people that are really mad about this, but perhaps I can change your view as well.
All right, you definitely got to go first because I need a second.
Yeah, here's why. Half races in early D&D up to 5e 2014 version provided unique stat increases and typically focused on half elves and half orcs. Yes, there are other half races that exist. However, it's silly to pigeonhole race by picking a half race simply because of their stats or benefits. Because then they get stuck in playing a specific class that best uses those stats. It's never usually a best of both worlds. It's just like they get plus dexterity or plus constitution because they just look like an orc or an elf or whatever half version they are. Now, Wizards of the Coast doesn't want to use the word half anymore because they think it's a little problematic, and that's where the wokeness comes in, but we're not going to get into that. I think this is a blessing and a good thing because making this a cosmetic choice rather than a stat choice is perfect, because now you can mix and match however you want. For example, half orcs is a mix between humans and orcs. Orcs get specific benefits while humans get another set of specific benefits. You could pick the orc race as your main race, but have the characteristics of a human, or vice versa. Take the human benefits like extra feats and just have him look like an orc, and you can shape him cosmetically to however he fights. Is he a burly fighter or is he a nimble thief that just happens to look like an orc? And now you can do this however, because stats aren't involved. You can do half tieflings, half ASMR, half elves, half drow elves, whatever. What may seem like a silly woke agenda topic is really a blessing, because this allows for not only player agency, but character building and role play without being bound to numbers. And that's why I think it's good to keep it
Tony,
homebrew.
you ignorant slut. I can't disagree more. I cannot disagree more. This is terrible for DMs. The DMs have rules written in the old user manuals, and now what? They just have to let their players off on leashes, making whatever gobbledygook they want. Bah humbug. No to that. When you make something so frilly-dilly, wally-ally-tally like that, it's just, you take away all the specificity and uniqueness of all these races and sub-races. When you played the half-elf back in the day, how unique did you feel playing that race? Extremely. I knew I was a half-elf, and I had specific rules that told you I was a half-elf, and I had art that showed it. I didn't commission it from people online. Paying artists? No. Jared, come to my side. Come to my side. Why would you join these woke, non-half believing? They're the racist ones. They don't want to mix species. They're the racists.
A bunch of xenophobes. We gotta get the xenomorphs out of our Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
I could not think of much to be against
you
your
want
side.
me over? I'm on your side, bud.
The Monopoly man's right, you know.
What do you think, Jay? What do you think, Jay, man?
What do you think? Is Tony swayed you or have I?
Honestly, you can use whatever you want. I mean, when it comes down to it, I think I get where people might be one way or another, but I think that it's great having another way of doing it. 2024 rules are just, I don't know. I haven't found any that are too big of a miss yet. They're all pretty great, and this is just another set that people can use. And I mean, just the same way that people still want to play, you know, old D&D modules and things like that. They can use the new ones if they want.
Yeah.
But
We all agree. We all agree with
Yeah.
Tony's hot take. Maybe it's not as hot a take as we thought.
Well, the thing is
That
that
is
there are people adamant about this on either side, like aggressively,
Yeah, I can see that.
adamant on this. But to finish off the segment before we get into the next topic, I am willing to bet my bottom dollar, all the clams in my pocket, that when the next set of books comes out, like the next Xanthars or Tasha's, whatever those books player supplements are, I guarantee you they're gonna bring back half species or half races. I will bet any amount of shells
You can see
that that is gonna happen, despite them saying you don't like it. There's just no way. It's definitely gonna happen, 100%. And now that we've gotten down and dirty with the hot take, we'll go ahead and clean ourselves off with some shower thoughts with Dan.
I have serious questions that require serious answers. If you fight a beholder in Dungeons and Dragons, which hand does it hold the bee in?
It chose violence today, guys. It chose violence.
Which hand does it hold the bee in? I want to say left.
We're gonna have to see which hand is available.
I see you. If D&D players in America use features, does that mean that D&D players in Europe use meteratures? Answer me that.
I didn't know where that was going. It's so dumb.
Never thought about that, did you?
No. Mm-mm.
That's right.
Sure, yeah, I guess so. You're absolutely right. I have no witty retort for you, sir. You got me. I've invested.
Well, those are questions that maybe don't even have answers, you know?
Wow.
But some questions do have answers. And Jared is here to bring you some very fun ideas. Jared, what you got today?
I bring thee a gift most wondrous. From the depths of my mind and the chaos of the arcade, I bestow upon. Steal my ideas. That's what this concept is going to be.
I'll steal all your ideas.
Yes. So if you have followed us on TikTok, I was doing a segment for a while where I just throw out some things to kind of spice up your D&D. You can use all of it. You could use a little bit of it. The idea is to bring some little seasoning, some red pepper flakes on your pizza. You know, just give you a little spice, pizzazz, if you will. I'm going to be calling it a rotating boss abilities. Hear me out. Have the boss either attack in a pattern of 3 or more and have it have, you know, whatever kind of abilities you want it to do. And once it gets to the end, it circles back. So the players know what is going to happen. The mechanic can be, you know, an ability triggers it, or it could be player order, something along those lines. And the idea is that the players can learn the pattern and prepare. Or if you're more into the chaos, you can have the players roll a dice, and then that is the ability that the thing will do. The idea came to me when I was thinking of there's a enemy within Slay the Spire.
This is what I was going to bring up. I was like, this reminds me of Slay the Spire.
Yeah. It's very similar.
Oh,
and the
that's great.
idea would be kind of fun if it just said the number. So it's more stoic kind of an enemy. So it'd be like 4, and then all of a sudden, boom, you rolled a 4, and then That's the idea. Dan, Tony, let's start with Dan. You got any pizzazz you want to throw on top of that? Do you have any things?
Stole my pizzazz. Stole all my pizzazz.
Stole the pizzazz. I'm so
Yeah, the
sorry.
Slay the Spire board game came out. And this happens with a lot of boss battles, even coded into the video game, where you'll just put a cube down a block and then back up to the top, and the abilities just keep rotating. And what happens is it becomes a sort of puzzle that happens where all of a sudden, okay, in D&D you're fighting the boss, that's great. You're like, oh man, these 3 abilities are doing a lot of damage. Wait a second, I feel like they keep doing it in these orders. Maybe there's something to this. It could be a story reason, right? Why there's something to that. Maybe you thought they were human, but they're actually some sort of construct. And it could be just as great as solving a puzzle, you know. At first you thought it was going to be combat, but now it's combat with a puzzle on top. So I always like my pizza with toppings. So I think that's a pretty fun idea. And it's a nice, simple, tiny, simple thing you can do to your games to all of a sudden change your combat if combat's starting to get stale. Those tiny little things go a long way. Tony, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas about this because you make lots and lots of bosses.
Yes, so this idea is so good that at the time of recording, the new monster manual is not out yet. However, they have talked about this feature where rather than giving you just a stat block, they actually give you how a creature would react and gives you suggestions on how to use those attacks in certain scenarios.
Sure.
If they're losing, what would they do if they're dying? What moves would they save for an oh crap moment and things like that. I have not seen the full book as a whole. So it can be a little bit different. I don't want to be gotcha later on when the book does come out, but they have mentioned rotating and countdown moves and boss rage mechanics. I think is
cool
official gaming term. Yeah,
Very
I love it. I
very
think it's
nice.
great.
Rage mechanics are always good.
Yeah.
Yep. But with that being said, and speaking of kind of a steal my idea thinking that I made up myself, which leads us into the next segment, which is Tony.
Yeah, that's me. And we're talking about Homebrew Monster of the Week. Woo! And my Homebrew Monster of the Week is the Rhododendron Celestial. I made up myself, and I personally love this one. It's great. I have sharing the stat block with the guys as we speak. But a little insight behind this, I had shared this homebrew way back in October. That's right. I did a Patreon homebrew monster challenge where I tried to make a monster for every day of the month of October. I did fail, but I made 24, 26 great homebrew monsters and creatures. Some are good, some are bad, some are evil, some are heavenly, and this is one of them. The Rhododendron is a tiny celestial angel/demon. Now, the reason why it's an angel/demon, and it's chaotic and neutral, by the way, is because it changes from encounter to encounter. It has stats, and they're pretty weak stats. So all of its stats are 8. So 8 strength, 8 dex, 8 con, 18 intellect, 8 wisdom, and 18 charisma. And there's a reason for these radical stats. So the first ability I would like to point out for this Rhododendron, and Dan, if you will, display the art if you have not already.
I don't have that ready. It'll be up on the screen, though.
So yeah, it'll be up on the screen. But if you two scroll down underneath the stat block, you can see this creature. Now, this creature looks like a silhouette of a cherub with multiple wings and 4 arms, but it has a faceless head with halo, but its body looks very demon-esque. It looks like it teeters on the line between a demon and an angel. And its first ability is called Change of Faith. At the start of any encounter, the DM will flip a coin, and a Rhododendron will switch between good or evil, and will continue that encounter with its now new alignment. So its Chosen Presence is another ability. Rhododendron can choose what creatures within a 30-foot presence can see it. The Rhododendron will always be visible to the chosen creatures. The next ability is Seeing is Believing. The Rhododendron can only affect creatures that can see it. Then we have Angelic Persuasion. So it's all abilities. It does have some attacks, but all the mechanics are in the abilities here. The Rhododendron has advantage on all charisma-based abilities. The last ability is Angelic Gift. The Rhododendron can provide a magical item as a gift for those who earned it. So this creature can be like a quest giver. You can use it as like maybe an escort, or just as a nasty creature to fight, or creature to mess with the party, falsely presenting itself as something good, only to maybe lead it to a very dangerous place for kicks. Its attacks are life draining. When the rhododendron lands an attack on a creature, it gains 1 point of exhaustion. The Cherub's Touch of Grief attack is a melee attack weapon. It has +6 to hit within a 5-foot reach. And the Wings of Relieving Light is a ranged weapon attack with a +6 to hit. Now, these attacks don't have any damage. It only does exhaustion. That's it. It will not damage the creature. It will only give them 6 point exhaustion points. And if you hit 6, you are dead. It does know some spells with a DC 18 +8 to hit with spell attacks. It knows Light. It knows Mending. It knows Charm Person, Greater Restoration, Charm Monster, Dominate Person, Dominate Beast, and Invisibility. It's only vulnerable to radiant damage, and it only has 20 hit points. That's the only way to affect this thing. Otherwise, it's immune to everything else. So this was mainly a creature I designed for quest purposes, to either help the players or deceive the players in a false guise. It's there to cause chaos or to really help the players by giving them a weapon that you just don't know how to fit into the game. You know, do you want to give your paladin that Holy Avenger, but don't have a place to give the Holy Avenger? Maybe the rhododendron can make itself appear and give those promises to your paladin.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to this sheet where you have Angelic Gift, I would maybe change it to Chaotic Gift and make it give them a curse or a gift, depending on what it is.
I was gonna say the demon part didn't play out.
Cool. Yes, we need more of the demon aspects of this, because that is so cool.
Because if you flip the coin and it's evil, then what happens? Because it says all the good stuff that happens.
That's true. That's true. I think the evil text is in the flavor text that I put on the Patreon post. By the way, you can see all of Tony's monsters on Patreon, even if you are a free member. That's right. Go ahead and check out all our free perks at patreon.com/DND404, where you can see this monster and many others.
It's a good one. It's very easy to put into a story. When you said quest stuff, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was going to bring up, where I was like, oh man, if you need a specific item, for example, and you create this eerie kind of aura about the situation, you could have some old guy in a shack be like, well, I think it's up there in the mountains, but it's guarded by a strange creature. I never know if it's good or bad, you know, and you create a little mystery around it. That can go a long way. So then when you get that item, you're either tricked or it's good, depending on how the DM rolls. I love everything about that. I love the chaos aspect of this one. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I want to see it be an asshole. I like that it can exhaust people and start messing with it. I'm curious how you would role play it. Like, okay, right now, Dan's the only one that can see it. Do you take him into a different room, like, so that he only sees it, and then he only knows what's going on, and he has to describe it to the rest of the group? Or, what that kind of back and forth is with the other players?
Handouts are great for that, where you're like, this is what you see, and you just give it to the one person.
Yeah. You see this, and you're like, okay.
I think, personally, I would take the Navi approach, like a fairy that only the chosen players can see, and guide them voicelessly. Because that's like the best way to portray deception, is like, because once something starts to speak, depending on how good the DM may be in roleplay or their voice that they use, can really determine if you're going to trick the player or not. So if you don't speak and just have this thing guiding a lost party that's looking for an answer, and decides to be evil, it's a great way to lure them into a trap. The thing could just be like, oh, there's a really big monster that's hungry over here. Let's see how it reacts when I lure these unsuspecting victims looking for a way out into the maw of a monster, and see how it goes.
It's also a false positive, you know what I mean? Like, you're not sure if it's good or if it's evil. It looks good and it looks evil at the same time. So do I follow this? Do we follow this thing into the creepy cave? It's beckoning, it's not saying anything.
It has a halo.
From the Howard halls of r/D&D, I present thee reddest finest scrolls. Behold its artistry, its craftsmanship, and its vision woven by the heart. Let us reveal these marvels etched in its finest minds of our age. We're gonna go at Reddit's finest scrolls. That's what this segment's gonna be called.
Reddit's finest scrolls. I like that.
Yeah. So if you can look at the scroll down on your sheets, boys, you will see the first submission is this.
Oh, a good
It was-
boy.
To for those listening, Dan, if you can put it up on the screen right now. It is I think a wolf with a fire tail and a sword coming out of its mouth, and I am a sucker for that.
Looks kind of like a white fox.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's what is that game? There's a
Okami.
game.
Okami.
Yes, that is.
That's what it reminds me of.
Okami's
I
a
love
dog.
it.
Yes,
Okami's a wolf. Yeah.
It has armor, and I don't know much else about this, but awesome looking thing. Chaotic good.
Who
Chaotic good
designed
boy.
this? Valley Arch.
Yes, so it's an actual original
Oh, that's so cool.
art that they put up on there. So if you put their name up there too, that'd be great. Budding.
Yeah, good thing it's on the image. Valley Arch production, really amazing. So what we're doing here is we're trying to highlight some of the cool artists in the D&D community because there's an abundance. And I think you picked a really good one, Jared. Jared's got a really good eye for art, so we gave him this mission.
I love it. And let's go into the second submission, which I think is going to hit close to home. There you go. If you could put it up on screen right about here. Boom.
Wait, how'd you get my kindergarten picture?
Yes. So, this is a baby bullet. I think
Yeah.
it's, I mean,
Bullet,
Roulette.
however you pronounce it.
Roulette.
If we were fighting this thing, I would not have attacked it. I would have absolutely. Oh, that is literally the noise. That is the noise.
yes. Everything about this is perfect. No
Who made
notes.
this one?
Alonzo?
Alonzo Viter.
Underscore
Viter.
Viter?
Yep. Yep, on Reddit. We'll put their name up on screen as well. You can find them on, again, all these are on Reddit. And do you have any comments about this one other than you want to pet real hard?
It's a 22 cal bullet.
Yeah. Not really. The lighting design, the lighting aspect of this design is so good. It's on point.
Yeah,
It
everything about
adds so
this
much
is
depth to it.
perfect. But not to say that I saved the best for last, but I think one that I really like. Put it up on screen right about here.
Whoa.
This
Look at
is
this
a biblically accurate beholder.
That's crazy.
Looks like it's into BDSM.
It is very crazy looking, and I just thought it was awesome looking. Very different than, you know what I mean, normal beholders that I guess we see. I guess it's wrapped in these, like, not halos, but kind of halos that all have eyes.
I thought
and
they were
things.
like, you know, the symbol things that you like, you know, you
Oh,
make
yeah.
music to. That's
No,
what I
all
thought
of
they
its
were.
eyes are
Oh.
on those middle rings. which is
Yes.
crazy.
Okay.
Yes.
It's cool.
That's-
Yeah, it's like penciled in. It looks great concept. I love this, but it's kind of hard to like see that because only like a small part of it is actually detailed on the right
Yeah,
side
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's still a work in progress.
Yeah,
but-
when it's explained to me, it's awesome. I would like to see the finished product, like a bigger picture, a bigger
And
scope.
it says in the little sketching down below, it says all eyes open when angry. So
This reminds me of Shumu Gorath from Marvel vs. Capcom. Well, just from the Marvel series in general. You know that thing with the one eye and like the tentacles?
oh yes, 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 yep.
Yep, yep.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Who did this?
Keekly.
Eekly.
Yep.
Eekly. That's up on the screen. My favorite personally, because I'm a fox guy. Eevee's my favorite Pokemon. Just standard Eevee. I don't care what you say, come at me. The first one is probably my favorite, the wolf, the little fox, white fox, wolf, whatever it is with the sword in it.
Tony, what about you?
I mean, a tiny bullet.
Tiny
I have an
bullet.
affinity for
Oh,
the
yes.
tiny, chubby monsters, so you know.
Yep. Yeah, I think the last one I really like it. I like the style. Like, I would definitely am on Tony's side. I want to see it like fully fleshed out, but seeing the sketch drawing and
I don't like how it's salivating.
I like that
eyeball.
it says he's eepy.
It does.
Oh,
I didn't see that. He's eepy.
It's good stuff. But with that being said, guess what, guys? We're wrapping up. We're done. That's it. That's the end of our segments. I hope you guys appreciated this. It is something kind of new. We picked some segments. Hope you liked it. You put it in the comments what your favorite segment was. We can try to expand on them, or if you have some new segments that we should add that we're not doing, tell us. Or if you got links to art, any other things, throw it in our Discord. And if you want to support us, go on over to Patreon and give us a like somewhere.
yeah, go ahead. Join as a free member. Just as a free member, you will already have access to so much content on there. Just joining as a free member and updates. So it's all good.
Yes.
Patreon.com/DND404.
Does anybody have any suggestions before we close out this episode?
I thought we were going to do recommendations.
That's what I mean, recommendations.
Yes, I do.
Jared.
So, I always mess up the name. Let me look it up. Hang on, cut this part out.
It's not even.
Cut it.
Severance on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Might be the best show that I've seen in since peak Game of Thrones times.
I gotta get Apple TV, bro. It's like telling me to download a game on the Epic Game Store.
I'll do that. 100%.
I don't want to set the bar too high. Like, let me lower the expectations. But I don't watch shows unless they're like really, really good. And I gotta say, this thing has just been tickling my fancy, and I love it so much. Yeah. The second season is airing currently.
Huge fan of Adam Scott.
Yes.
So
Adam Scott
and
Ben Stiller's the
director.
The director.
I love almost everything Ben Stiller has directed. He is an underrated director, I will say. If you haven't seen Secret Life of Walter Mitty, here's a little sub recommendation for you.
I was gonna say you should watch that before watching this because there's a lot of the same actors.
Oh, nice, good.
Which is really cool. But I think Dan would appreciate this. There's the use of color is amazing. The use of camera shots.
Oh my goodness.
And the
color profiles are amazing.
Yeah. I've been watching so many. Currently, there's only been 2 episodes in the second season that have aired. Yeah. And I've been looking up so many, what do you think's going on? I'm diving deep. It's
That's
been
a good sign if you're diving.
Super fun, but can't recommend it enough.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us in the Orb Report. That's what we're calling it. The Orb Report. Or Tony's going to call it the Rapport, but canonically on the title it will say Report.
Orb Report.
Or Report. And let us know, like Jared said, if you have any recommendations. But thank you for all the love and everything in between, as Tony always says. And let's head on over to the Patreon supporters. Whoosh! Whip hand, because we're video.
Hey everybody, what's poppin'? It's the biggest, it's the baddest, the strongest Minotaur you ever been blessed to see. It's Miranor, and I've decided to take a short rest from my workout to shout out this month's Patreon supporters. We're gonna start off with the Shadow Smokers. These badass Hefferfluffers have one hell of an amazing journey rolling with me as my new crew. And first up, we have Julius Kendrick, and this go-getter really took a bull by the horns by giving me a new way to train my already flawless combat techniques. He's able to summon hordes of bone bros to help me fight. Some of them even spit green fire, and some are even made of metal. The glowing tattoos on his body kinda freak me out, I'm not gonna lie, bro. You need to get those treated, because when I stare at the tattoos, not only does it feel like I'm staring at the void of death, but I feel like I can hear children crying too, bro. You gotta get that checked out, Julius. Second is Dylan Snyder, and he's out of this world. Some would say he's from Mars. This Grong is leaps and bounds better than Midas. Midas only thinks he's cool because he can float, but Dylan is way cooler because he can hop way higher than Midas can float. As a matter of fact, Dylan can hop over 100 minuses. And you need a lot of minuses for this example because she's so short. Next, we have Laura Dawnstar, and this gal really packs a punch in her kicks. Are you fond of the sound barrier? I hope not, because she destroys whatever swift kicks she got. They boom, they zoom. Laura drops her foes harder than Minutes dropping the ball in dodgeball during Gray's class. And last we have Bro Benjamin Hayes. Let me tell you something about this bro, all right? Let me tell you something about Benjamin. He knows how to take a hit, but he always gets back up. It's a privilege watching him work out in the field. A true tank to our militia. Our immovable Brock on the front line. A beacon of tenacity and fortitude. A dead save would hate to see Benjamin coming. Alright, now let's move on and talk about these bloodshot bandit nerds. First up is Reigns, and much like the Rains Down in Africa by Toto, I can listen to this guy all day. Truly a knowledgeable nerd, despite being a horrific frog monster once. Minister wrote me a letter about that could not have been fun. And next is Shade Greyfire, and despite having the most edgelord name I've ever heard a bro have, he is at least way cooler than Menace, and he has a wicked dice collection. And next up is Amanda Dulong, aka Morgan Uthil, and I gotta say, I love the way you won that conversation against Armos. That guy couldn't talk himself out of a paper bag. Oh, but this next one, Sly, let me tell you about Sly. Sly is one slick bro and an excellent wingman. It's like whenever I need something, he has it. It's like he steals it or something. And last up is Artemis. And to be honest, I'm not a fan. You keep calling me a bully, and I kind of think that makes you a nerd. Oh, what, you want to go or something, bro? You want to go? Yeah, I'll see you after these shoutouts are done. Sorry, I let my anger get the best of me there. It's not very classy of a bro to get mad. However, let's talk about my last Deadlifts and Dungeons game we had with the Cincinnati College alumni last week. Alright, so here's what happened, right? Last session, Aiden, our fierce fighter, really dealt out some major damage. He was landing critical hits left and right. It kind of sucked though when he lost his lucky D20. Like when it hit the floor, it was like really loud, but we didn't know where it went. Now I'm thinking about it, it's kind of louder than your average dice, but maybe he just lifts. Maybe he's just cool like that. But David the Chance came in hella clutch though. Like he rolled 2 nat 20s on his portent roll on his divination wizard. So we had some extra nat 20s to go around for sure. But then Craig Dawnbringer, he was the underdog in the last session for sure. Like the DM was kind of bullying me. It was totally uncool. I felt like I was being targeted. And Craig totally brought me back up to full HP with a little pre-workout and lay on hands. Patrick Wennerstrom and Saint Chaos decided to roll new character last session, and together they both played like this crazy 2-headed ogre, sorcerer, rogue, druid build. It was crazy. Patrick and Chaos really went all out in combat. I mean, it kind of seemed a little power gamey in my opinion, but to each their own, I'm not going to judge. I'm still stronger anyway. Oh, and Sergio Rodriguez. How could I forget our faithful, reliable healer? Sergio really kept the party alive. There was this one poison trap that we all got hit, but he was able to keep us up with his mass healing. The men's bathroom obnoxious gas was no match. It was crazy. All in all, it was a great Deadlifts and Dungeons session. Robert Crisp did a really good job running Drell's bodacious Undeadatorium module. It was awesome. It had everything. It had stinky men's bathrooms. It had large weights and giant monsters. But we totally steamrolled it. But Robert did a great job, despite targeting me constantly. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to Humbrea's heroes. I turned Temp 7, Maid of Nightmares, Jacob Matthew, and Drown. Thanks for lifting with me last week. Your combined weight totally helped me hit a new PR. Grant Fairman, Tyler Brisby, Ripcorded, Toby Lodge, and John Carroll. You guys are hella chill. Thanks for letting me in the hacky shit circle. Will Miller, Tazlin, Johnny Tar, D&D Virgin 69, Odie Mel 1203, and Man with Glass, thanks for helping me land my first pirouette in dance class. You guys are your best. Now I can totally turn on a dime. And And that's it for this month's shout-outs for the Patreon supporters. If you would like to know how to become a Patreon supporter, go ahead and click that Patreon link down below, or go ahead and search on your cool keyboard at patreon.com/DND404, and you can find all the information there. And until then, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Menace is a nerd!